Hey guys, Jess here. I'm back, and tonight we're documenting the story of Wyatt and I enjoying some spooky hot chocolate. So we have the photos here, as you can see, where we have our funky mugs with our hot chocolate and our little ghost peeps inside. It was a really fun little weekend afternoon that we did this, and it was a lot of fun, so I'm excited to document it. What I'm showing you here is some hybrid scrapbooking I did using some Tracy Reed design elements, and I put them all together in Photoshop into the size of the tag that says no tricks, which is what they're going to go on. I also printed out some additional embellishments because I decided I didn't want everything to be flat on that tag, so I cut them out and I will place them over at the end. But if you haven't checked out Tracy Reed, definitely do. Her collections are very affordable and they're amazing. And her embellishments have a lot of texture, like linen and fabric and felt, and they're so cool, like just very detailed and just really beautiful collections overall. So it was really fun to use and create that tag. So this is going on the back side of the Boo Crew tag. And so we're just adding that photo here, and then we're just going to fussy cut out the additional embellishments that I printed. So the little Hey Boo flag, the spider, and the October tag. And this was just so I wanted a little bit of dimension on this tag. I didn't need a lot, but it just needed a little extra. I do really have fun doing digital scrapbooking. I enjoy it, but I really do like the visual dimension and texture that comes along with the physical paper and product. And so what I love is that you can achieve both, which is great. So if you haven't tried any digital products or digital scrapbooking, I really encourage you to do so. There's just endless possibilities of what you can do. And this is just a sample of something I have done here in this layout. And so I'm not even bumping them up. I'm literally just placing them right over the images. So I kind of created a template for myself, if you will. And it just gives that little bit of texture and dimension, because before it was just flat like a photo, which was okay too. And so those coffee mugs I actually touched up in Photoshop. I cleared the background out around them, and then I took those spiderweb embellishments, I think was from October Moon, one of Tracy Reed's designs, as well as the rest of the embellishments, and just kind of tucked those in behind and created this whole layer effect right in Photoshop. You can bring in digital products, and there's other platforms you can use. Photoshop is really worthwhile. Learn if you like this style, so I encourage it. But if not, you can bring in the digital pieces easily into like Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Canva, and print them out and fussy cut them. You could also bring them into your Silhouette Design Studio and print and cut there. I'm assuming you could probably do it in Cricut and scan and cut as well. Their functionalities are all generally the same. So like I said, there's lots of options, different levels and different ways to utilize the digital products. So give it a whirl, give it a try. You might be surprised at how much you enjoy it. So we're just cutting out this little spider here. He's the last little addition to this tag. And that pretty much is going to wrap this side up, and we're going to attach it to the back of that Boo Crew tag. And then it will complement the other part of this layout we're going to do as well. I do end up bumping the spider up. Yeah, that's right. Giving him a little bit of dimension with a foam dot. Nice and simple. I love it. I just love how this came out. And these tags are great. The tag came from the Ellie Edwards Halloween collection. I think it was a set of 3 that had come in from there. And look, that just came out so great. I love it. It was so fun to create too. So there we go. We're going to add it to the back of that tag, and we're going to essentially call this done. And I'm going to apologize, guys. I have a little bit of a cold, so if I sound a little congested or sniffly, I apologize greatly. I'll do my best to keep it to a minimum. So that's attached. Tie the ribbon through the hole, and we are done with this tag here. And now we're going to move on to... That looks so great. We're going to move on to the main layout for this story, which is the photos of Wyatt and I enjoying our chocolates. But before we do that, we are, I have that spiderweb glitter and paper there, and my original intent for this was to cut it down to be a divider, like an overlay over the layout. So I cut it down to the 6¼ by 8¼ size, and I do end up punching holes in it. At the end, I don't end up using it because it was just too busy and it was distracting from the layout. But that was my original intent and purpose of cutting this, trimming this down. It was so cool, and I definitely am probably going to incorporate it a later part in my album. It just took away from the finished layout. It just didn't work well, I guess. And I think you'll see at the end where I kind of plop it in and get a visual. So that ends up going away. All right, so we have a background paper from the Ali Edwards collection, and then I'm going to do a little flip up of the photos here. So we're going to stack them, make a little hinge, and so you can flip them up and see all 3 photos. Again, this is a great way to incorporate multiple photos on a single 6x8 layout, creating a waterfall or flip up effect. It's a really great way to maximize the space essentially you have. So we're just creating a simple hinge, black paper, and we're gonna put these all together, and we're actually gonna mat it on the black as well, which just helps it pop out a little bit more from that really nice Star and Moon paper from the Ali Edwards collection. If you guys hadn't checked that out, I'm not sure if it's still available, but definitely consider it. It's really nice color scheme. It's not a little on the muted side, if I had to say, kind of a little bit of a vintage vibe. Lots of great phrases and sayings in there. The papers are beautiful. I really enjoyed it. That was I think one of the few things that I bought this year. I'm using majority of what's in my collection or my stash, but I had to have that one. I just fell in love with it immediately. All right, so there it is. Our photos are all together. We're attaching it to the mat, and then that piece is going to be done. And so what I've decided to do for the rest of this layout is I have some Stampin' Up! Rub-ons that I purchased at a thrift store, believe it or not. There was like a big stack of them for like $2, and there were Halloween ones in there, and I was so excited. So that's what you're looking at here. And so what I've decided to do is to cover this background paper in different pieces of the rub-ons. Now, some people love rub-ons, others aren't a huge fan. I myself find them really fun. For this very reason. This is what I like to do with them. I like to basically create backgrounds, and I like to layer. And so that's what you're going to see here. So I start with this big boo word, and these worked beautifully. These are really great quality. I don't know if you do like rub-ons, I don't know if Stampin' Up! Still sells them or not. If you know a consultant, or maybe you can go to their website and see. I'm not sure how new or old these are, but they worked really, really well. And sometimes rub-ons can be like a hit or miss, but these ones worked really well. So I started off with that boo just to kind of tie in to the ghosts. And then I got this puffy, or like a foam word spooky, like a thickers. It's a thicker, but it's like a foamy thicker. I think most of them are, it's not a chipboard, it's more the foam material. I think I'm making sense. Anyways, so it's the word spooky, and then I'm cutting out the word treat from the rub-ons as well. So the title of this is Spooky Treat. And so I thought that was really, really cute. And the fact that we get to use the foam letter and the rub-on, it just all ends up working out really nicely. So I'm just trying to find a place for the word treat, and we're going to build around this title, adding in some more rub-ons and really, building out this background. And it was a bit of a risk here because there was already stars and moons on the background paper. I was a little concerned that it might be too busy, but I think you'll see in the end it works out really, really well. I think it just all came together so nicely. And so this is my message to you, is to bring out those rub-ons again, play with them. If they're sitting there collecting dust, have some fun. They really do add a lot to a layout, and they're really easy and fun to use. So it's just bringing out the different elements and layering and stacking. That's really all I did here. So we have this spider web, and I just cut out, there was, they were kind of all fit in, so I had to cut in and around different pieces. But we have some spider webs. We end up adding some bats. These images were really great. They really were. And like I said before, they went on quite nicely. But even with the pieces that maybe I didn't rub on hard enough, it all kind of went with the same look and vibe. Kind of spooky, right? It's incomplete, kind of torn and ripped. It just worked out. Worked out really, really well. So I just love it. And then there was this little cauldron on here, which was perfect because I'm drinking out of a cauldron coffee mug, which I got from a craft fair this year. A local artisan made it. And as soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it and I had to have it. I'm a big fan of coffee mugs. I try to keep my collection to, a minimum, but it's so easy for me to go overboard. But this one just fit in so well with my love of Halloween. And the fact that it was handcrafted was just so exciting. So I snagged that. And then Wyatt had this cute little ghost one that I couldn't live without. I'm a big fan of ghosts. I think out of all like the Halloween characters, ghosts are my favorite. So he has this cute little ghost mug with the little ghosty hands. So we added that cauldron to represent, my little drink cup there. And then there's this phrase, trick or treat, smell my feet, is what I'm cutting out now. And I do end up, unfortunately, putting this on a little crooked. It's stuck down before I could straighten it out. So, yeah. Oh, you guys are seeing it real. We all, not everything comes together so nicely. But you know what? I embraced it, and it is what it is. This is handmade. And so, like I say many, many times over again, it just embrace the imperfections. And that's what makes it, unique and that's your own and handmade, right? If it was perfect, that would be nice too, but the imperfections give it character. So we're embracing the crooked phrase. And now we put the photo on, and so I want to add a few more rub-ons in and around here because it just didn't look complete enough. I think we had more room to add more. So I decided to add some bats. These bats are quite funky. They're pretty cool looking. They have really like exaggerated wings, and I like that a lot. And so I add 3 to give it that like visual triangle. And they looked really nice. Again, I just kept adding something and then taking a look and seeing, can we get away with adding more? And just trying to find that balance of where it was not enough or, before we got to the too much, the tipping over mark, if you will. So, and I think we achieved that balance quite nicely here with this layout. I really do. And I love the images on these rub-ons. They were great. And I was really lucky because I think I had like 2 or 3 sheets of this Halloween rub-on in the stack that I bought. So I was like so excited, to have, especially with them working this well. They'll definitely be on future layouts for sure. Added another spider web in the corner there just to balance out the other spider web down below and fill up that corner a little bit. And then I just come back in. I think there's some spiders that I wanted to add just to fill in the blank, the empty spots, if you will. Those are skulls, not spiders. I do think I'd come back in and add some spiders though, because there was some spots that looked bare compared to the rest of the layout. So we're going back through the little bits and pieces and adding them in. And yeah, I really just think this came out great. I really do. It's so fun. It's simple, but I love the colors. That background paper is just perfect. It really is. The photos, they all complement each other so nicely. So it was really, really fun to make and to bring out, some supplies that you don't use as much is always really good too. Meaning like the rub-ons, they're not a commonly used product anymore. So maybe I've reinvigorated your interest in using some rub-ons. But there we go. Doesn't that look great? And then the last little bit is that we have to add a tab on the side of the photo, just so they can, whoever's looking at it can, it's easy to lift up. And it's always a good excuse to add a little something extra and a little tiny word phrase on the side there. And I was thinking about trying to add a little something extra to the photos, but I decided against it. I just like the way they look, and I didn't want to disrupt them with some rub-ons. So we're going to add that little tab, and I end up pulling some tiny words from a sticker sheet. There wasn't much to choose from size-wise, so I just end up going with the word spooky, which matched the title, but I'm okay with that. You know, and there you go. You can lift it up. So cute. So fun. And then we're going to get this in the album, because that is complete. And this is where you guys will see that the spider webs just didn't work well on top of the layout. You'll see here in a moment where it just kind of distracts. There you go. Yeah, it just didn't work. For me anyway, it just didn't work. So I ended up taking it out. But it looks so good together. There's the completed layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this process video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Happy scrapping. Bye.